welcome to this KW Command training. My name is Lori Ballen. I am a real estate agent in Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't work directly for KWRI in regards to Command. I'm an independent agent like the rest of you, and I bring all of my training to you because I have been doing training for all of my adult life. It's just what I do. So thank you for joining me today. Today we are going to look at how to market a new listing. So how to take full advantage of taking a listing and then lead generating online so that you're leveraging that listing as much as possible, and you're bringing in more buyer leads and potentially seller leads. So stay with me as we go through this journey on how to fully market a listing in KW Command. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to identify what listing it is that you want to market. Hopefully your listing is showing up on the inside Command, and if not, I'm going to show you ways to get around all of that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the front of my website. This is my KW Command website, and this is set up through all of the features that KW Command gives us. And for those of you that are struggling with getting your Command agent website set up, you actually have leverage, which is wonderful. My brothers, Jeff and Paul, have a KW Command friendly marketing company, and they build all these websites out, including the special things that I have throughout my website, the home value calculator, the featured listing widget, all of those things. We have SmartPlan suites. They have SmartPlan suites. So definitely check them out at ballenbrands.com. They can help with all of your KW Command things, including onboarding and training your team or training your admin. So definitely talk to Jeff and Paul over there. All right, so what I want to show you on this page is that I have a list of featured listings down here. There's a way to set this up, and you can actually include your listings or your office listings. In fact, let me show you this piece right now first, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these for our example. So to get to these featured listings, to set them up on your KW Command agent website, what you're going to want to do is you're on the left-hand side here, you're going to go down to consumer. That consumer applet is where you're going to manage your agent site pages, your guide builder, your landing pages, and all of your website and app settings. So in order to activate that featured listings block, we'll call it, I'm going to go over here to site and app settings. And then you can see you have general info, URLs, featured listings, theme, and site pages. And we have to imagine that KW Command will continue to grow, and we will see more options in here eventually as well. So we're going to go over here to featured listings. And now you're going to give your featured listings header text. So if we take a look here, this is what we're talking about when we say header text. It's the top of that block. So what do we want on top of there? Well, I went ahead and put my call phone number. You could put call or text. You could put featured listings. You could put homes for sale, whatever it is that you want to put there. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of these. And what you can do now is it'll be blank when you first log in. You'll be able to select the listings you would like to highlight in your featured listings section, and you can select up to 12. So we're going to go to select listings. You can actually display any featured listings on your website that you want. They do not have to be your listings. The way KW Command is set up, all of your listings that are displayed have the appropriate credit to the original listing agent and broker on the page where they're supposed to per, MLS rules and regulations. You're not specifically promoting that listing in a way that requires permission. You're simply displaying those featured listings on your website, which you have permission to do. So you can do this in several ways. One, you can do just your listings. So if I want to display just my listings, I can do that here if they're showing up. In my case, my listings are all in my team members' names. So I would have to look up my team members to display their listings, okay? But I'm going to go to all listings, and then up here, property address, MLS number, city, or zip code. Let's go to zip code. And let's say I really am specializing in one particular zip code. I'm going to put in that zip code, and then I can display listings that are in that specific zip code simply by clicking select, and remember you can pick up to 12. So these will now be showing on the front website. Now, ideally, I always talk about my wish list, right? Ideally, we would be able to set this to display my listings, my team listings, my office listings, or one other maybe type of neighborhood or zip code by default. Because unfortunately, this has to be done manually now each time we want to come in and update this. Okay? At least today. That could change down the road, but at least today. So my suggestion is every time you take a new listing, you, your team member, your admin, your partner, whoever it is that's working on your tech side of things, would come in here and select your new listing to make sure that it's featured. Get rid of something that's not yours, put in something that's yours if you like. It does whatever works for your model. Then we're going to click Save Changes. All right. So now we will do a refresh on our KW Command Agent website. All right, they're updated already. Good, perfect. I wasn't sure if there'd be a delay. So now what you see is all 12 of those featured listings. And I really like this because I also like these price reductions that are showing. It's an increase when it's red. That's a new construction, so they must have done something to it. And then we have price reduction of 20,000, price reduction of 11,000. My only wish is that that was larger and more obvious, with like a just reduced banner or something would make that nice. I want that to stand out. That's a huge feature. All right. So now what we're going to do is we'll assume that these are our listings, okay? That one of these is your listing. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one right here, this 12110 Highland Vista Way, Las Vegas. And I'm going to open that, and that's going to be our focus example, okay? It's not actually my listing. I'm not going to run any ads on it, but it's a great example of one that we can use today, okay? Now, another thing I would like to show you is see how this listing has the virtual tour connected to it. That is something that you can actually add as well. So let me go ahead and show you where to add that virtual tour. We're going to go back into the consumer applet to do this portion. So click on consumer. Remember, consumer is where we manage right now all of our landing pages, agent site pages, guide builder, and site and app settings. And it sounds a little, you might think to yourself, well, that should really be in the listing section, and we'll see where that all grows. But for right now, it's actually in our settings. So we're going to go in our site and app settings. There's two different settings, by the way. Up here next to your profile, if you click that little arrow, you can go to settings. That is where you're going to be able to access your third-party integrations and your tags and fields and that kind of thing. Here is where we do site and app settings. So I'm going to click on site and app settings, and now we're going to go back over to our featured listings tab. Oops, hold on, I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. Okay, there it is. Sorry about that. It's actually in the general section. So let me show you that again, just so that you can follow exactly along. We went to consumer, and then to site and app settings, and then we stay on general. And then we scroll down and find the word virtual tours, the section for virtual tours. So here we can link a virtual tour to our active listings that are then going to be displayed on kw.com, the KW app, and your agent site. So yes, you can use a branded tour for this because it's going to show up on those pages that don't have the restrictions for branded tours. So this is not going to syndicate to the MLS that has those regulations. Okay, it's the opposite. It's actually syndicating to the sites that are already being syndicated to. So they already have the listing. We're just adding the virtual tour to it. Okay. So here we're going to go to select listing, and here's where you can edit your active tours. So I'm going to go to select listing. Now I'll show you, well, let's go ahead and select listing first. So let's stick with the address. Let's see if it'll, I can't imagine why it would pull up somebody else's listing, but let me just check this for a second. I'm going to use my sample address. Okay, let's see if I can pull up by zip code. I have a feeling this isn't going to let me do it because I don't have any of my own listings listed in here right now. Okay, so let me just show you what you would do. Once your listing actually populates, I have open here in the tutorial screenshots. So once your listing populates, let me get down there. So select a listing. It'll look like this. Add a virtual tour. And you'll see the listing address, the price range, the location. You can change it from here. And then you're going to enter the video URL. Now, it doesn't matter what URL you want to put there. It could be YouTube. It could be your virtual tour company URL. It could be your listings to leads URL. It could be wherever you have a virtual tour. Now, be strategic about it because if, for example, you want to get more people to your YouTube channel, it would be smart to upload your tour and send them to your YouTube channel. If you're trying to get more Instagram followers, maybe your tour is created on an Instagram reel or something like that, and you're going to send them there. Think about where you want to send them, but no matter what, you can just put a video URL there. If your tour company gave you one and that's where it goes, that's what you're using, then just put it here. I do not recommend putting a Zillow link or something like that that's going to send them away from your website to another real estate website where they're going to start surfing around that isn't yours. But if you have another website that you're using and it's got your tour on it and it's your website that you own and manage, then fine, send them there, whatever works. So that's where you would put your virtual tour. So these are going to be best for virtual tours that are video based. That are, you can go out and shoot it with your iPhone. You can have a professional go out, whatever it is. Those are usually the best ones that work right there. Because just uploading one of those ones that's photos and just moves in and out kind of doesn't make a lot of sense when they're already browsing the full photo gallery on the website here anyway. That's just a personal thing. You'll have to decide how you want to roll with that. So, oops. Somehow I got off of our own website. That's okay. I think this will still give me. Let's get it. Let me grab that again. So we were on Ballen Group Homes. I just want to have all that listing details opened that we were on, and it was this one here. Okay. So you've already learned how to add featured listings to your website now. You've also learned how to add a virtual tour to a listing. So already in this video, if you didn't know how to do those two things, you're way ahead of most of the people at Keller Williams at this point that haven't even dived into KW Command. So congratulations for showing up and being present and learning those skills so you can generate more leads and hopefully avoid that roller coaster that real estate agents struggle with where they bottom out with no production, right? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is now we're going to go create a design. Actually, yeah, let's do the design first. I'm thinking about this in a sequential order of how we go from one thing to the next. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go create a design that we can use on our social networks, on our Facebook posts or ads. You can also create an Instagram story. Let's go take a look at what our options are, okay? We're definitely going to want to create a design that we're going to use for a Facebook ad coming up. So that's my primary focus, but I also want to show you these other things while we're in that component. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to go over here to the left-hand side, and we're going to go down to that little drawing pad, that little sketch pad there. I think that's a paintbrush, and we're going to click Designs. Now, if you're just logging in to Designs for the very first time, you're not going to see any of these boxes here. These were already created. I already pulled these in from the templates. When you first log in, you're probably going to see a blank screen. It's very confusing because you don't naturally know where to go. So I want to make sure that you understand this. Instinctively, you're going to start clicking these things looking for templates, email, landing page, social, and there's still not going to be anything there if you haven't created anything yet, because these are technically the filters that help you sort through designs you've already created. In fact, to create a new design, to get to the templates, you have to use this little plus sign. Click the plus sign. Now you're going to choose create a design, email, and then you're going to click next. If you wanted to, you could import photos and text from a listing right from here, but I'm also going to show you how we can do it from the designs directly. So I'm just going to go ahead and click next. Oh, I clicked email, didn't I? Sorry about that. Go back. We're going to do social. Social's the one I like for this. And then we're going to click next. We are going to come back to email. I'm going to show you how to email out your listing as well in the second half of this video. So I'll make sure that you see how that all works. But we're right now in designs. We clicked on the little plus sign, and then we chose social. Your social graphics can also be print graphics. Your print graphics can also be social graphics. So don't get too caught up in that. But I do come in here because this is where you're going to find like your Instagram stories and things like that. Okay. So here's the see all related to your app. Here's the social squares related to your app. You can use these for social posts. But remember, we're marketing a listing today, so let's stay focused on that. So now we're going to go down to listings and take a look at all of these options. We have listings for sale. We have just listed. We have price updates. We have neighborhood snaps. We have open house, under contract, just sold, and local expert. My suggestion is that when you are marketing your listings, that you are coming back here and you're creating multiple stages of ads or social posts for that listing. Because a for sale, a coming soon, a just listed, a price update, a neighborhood snap, an open house, those are all going to be seeking leads for your listing or seeking buyers that could be interested in buying a house with you. But then we go over here to under contract, just sold, local expert. Those are going to be ways to show that you are having success selling listings in a particular area. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to just pick one, but let me show you, once you go through all of these, you have just listed, you have price updates. So every time you have a price improvement, I would be going in here and making a new social post. And there is a way, I'm going to save it to the end, I think. There is a way that you can go in, create these designs, and set them up and schedule them in the social posting tool. I'm going to stay with my flow today and keep going right now with creating that, marketing that listing. But at the end, if we have time, I'm going to cover that social post component. Okay. So the next one is, these are price updates. And you'll notice up top, you have these filters that allow you to look at the different sizes. So you have wide. Wide are really good for Twitter. They're good for Facebook. They could be used for YouTube thumbnails. Then you have social square. These are definitely your Instagram style square posts. And then you have your social stories, which we now know YouTube has stories, Instagram has stories, Facebook has stories. Many now of our social sites have these stories, and definitely these size of images here. Okay. Now, stories are typically a sequence of images that tell a story, or it could be an image that you want featured at the top. Like Facebook stories are quite frequently one image, where Instagram, you'll see more of a sequential storytelling series. So depending on whatever it is that you're doing, you don't have to start creating all these new things right now if they're not in your wheelhouse. They're not in that bucket that you do. Just worry about what you do right now, and you can add all this later if it's something you want to add. So if you're not doing stories, skip this part. Then you're going to stick with this social wide probably, or a square. And then we have neighborhood snaps. Now, neighborhood snaps are an amazing tool for geographic farming, for online geographic farming, showing people that you are a specialist in the neighborhood. Now, this particular component is not specifically listing specific, it's more neighborhood specific. But if I had a listing in a particular area, I might certainly edit one of these designs and use that for my listing. So let me show you what I'm referring to when I say that, and then I'll come back to the basic one. So for those of you that like to get a little more fancy and want to have variety, you can click on one of these. I'm going to go down to this bottom left, and you'll see why in a second, and I'm going to choose Use. Now, this automatically puts that template in your designs library. So next time you go to designs, you're going to see this design in your library, and you can copy and edit, do whatever you want right from there next time if you find one you like. So my suggestion is to kind of find your 4, 5, 6 designs that you're going to use on a general basis for every time you get a listing, and optimize them. Put your picture on there, put your logo on there, get them set up, and then save it as a template. Then every time you have a new listing, you just have to update your image and your numbers. You're not having to come in here every time and update the DBA logo or your image, that kind of thing. So let's start with that so you can see what I'm talking about. So the first thing is we have this KW DBA logo here by default, and what you want to do is you want to replace this with your KWDBA logo. Okay, now in my case, I already have it up here in my assets because I've already loaded it once. So once you start uploading your images, it's going to be much easier for you to just pull from your library and bring things in. Now let me show you where to go ahead and get your KW logo for your market center. Okay, I have open here the KW Answers section. If you cannot find this, just go to answers.kw.com. And I am always in here. KW has actually done a great job of now documenting processes with clear screenshot videos and step-by-step. And anytime I don't know what to do, I immediately go to Answers. Or if there's something new that I haven't learned yet, rather than watch a video that's going to be something I can skim and pick up really quick, I will come here to KW Answers. I absolutely love KW. I love videos where I can learn new strategies, follow somebody for outside of the box thinking, how they got this many leads for this much money, that kind of thing. But when it's a quick thing, I'll often just come to KW Answers, okay? So what they're saying is log into kwconnect.com. So I'm going to open this in a new tab so I can show you this. You can also get here actually from, let me show you where that is. I discovered you can actually get there from Command. So up top on your left-hand side, you have Command and you have Connect. Just click on Connect. Oh, weird. All right, we're not going to go in there that way because it's not pulling for some reason. I believe there's actually another way to get there too, which is profile. Let me see where that goes. So they're always updating. This is a beta software, obviously, and they're doing a lot of things. So sometimes you'll run into this spinning wheel of nothingness. You're like, oh no, what can I do? You're going to have to be clever and adapt and work around. All right, well, that's having problems, so we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to go to kwconnect.com. Oh, they must be doing something, because it's not opening at all. mykw.kw.com. Let's try that way. Okay, I think this will do it. Okay, so on their link that they gave us, it's not working. So we're just going to go to mykw.kw.com. The next thing we're going to do is if you scroll down, you can see here the screenshot. We're going to go down to marketing, which is right here, that tab there. And then we're going to go to logos and branding. So I'm on marketing. Then we go to logos and branding. And then scroll down and you're going to type in your market center number or market center name or address. I believe I was able just to put in Las Vegas and it gave me a list of, oh, it automatically pulls mine. It's only pulling mine. So I'm in 605. And then here you can preview the logos. Okay. And then you can also download, has a bunch more options. So if I download, I believe it gives me a zip file. So let's take a look at this. 605 images, download, cannot be downloaded securely. Crazy. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. So I've already got mine, but you can either download the zip file or you can just, if you preview this and it opens the logo you want, just right click, save image as, and then you would call it Keller Williams Realty Las Vegas Summerlin logo. And now you will have it. Then all you need to do is in your designs, you're going to now upload it. Now there's folders here you can use. If I go to logos, I've got my miscellaneous folder that's got logos in it, KWDBA, some generic ones if I wanted to mess with those. We've got things from labs in here, the labs logos. So they have given us those folders of all of those general logos that are not our own specific logos. You see all these? So you're free to use all of those. Our regulations say it has to be our office logo, and I've been caught on that before, and they're like, no, you must use our logo. So I'm going to do it correctly. So I'm going to go up here to images, and then I'm going to go to add. Now I can drag and drop an image and just drop it right in here. I could browse for a folder. I can even extract an image from PDF, PSD, and SVG files, which is incredible. Now I'm on a Mac here, so you can see that my image is down here at the bottom. I'm just going to click that, drag it up, and drop it right there, and now it's going to upload. Now I will have that logo to use whenever I want, and here's how I get to it. I simply click on the image I want to replace and make sure let me get out of there. It's not letting me click something, so I want to make sure I do this correctly. There we go. Okay, so you don't want to click here where it selects the whole picture. You see that blue outline that's showing you that you've selected the whole document. You only want to select the item you want to replace, which is this. Let me close that X again, which is this logo here. See now how it's selected in blue? That's a little tricky, so got to make sure that you're selecting the right item. Now you go over to the image that you want to replace that image with, and you click Oh, there's usually a little replace wheel here. If there's not a little replace wheel here, what I can do instead is I'm going to simply delete that, and I'll just click the plus sign and it'll add it. And then to resize it, just click on any of the corners, and then you're just going to drag that in exactly where you want it to meet your needs. Now, if you have a team logo, if you have anything else that you want to add here, you can do this. One example is you might want to have your team logo or your picture on here in some way. So for example, if I go to my assets, I've got some pictures here. Now I'm going to show you a cool way to remove the background of your picture so that it will look better on here. You'll see on this one I've got a white background. If I click to add that to, don't know why it's not adding. Let's try dragging it. Nope, there we go. Okay, if I try just dragging it here and dropping it, hold on, let me do that again. All right, that one is not adding. Let's try that one. That's so weird. Okay, let me try right in the middle there. No. All right, generally, let me deselect the element. Maybe I had something selected. There it is. Okay, I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing here to figure this out. Sometimes it looks like it's selecting a section that it wants, that it thinks I'm working on, and I have to click that X in the upper left-hand corner to remove the selected item to get it to work, okay? So what happens though here is if you have the white background or black background or gray background, it's going to obviously cut into that picture, right? Now, your choices are then if you shrink it down and you keep it within the white space and it's a white background, you're good to go. We'll adjust the text in a minute. If you like it there, that's fine. But if you want to get fancy and you want to remove the background, there's actually a couple of ways to do that, but not inside KW Command. So for example, now when we add this picture instead, I can actually put that up there on top and it looks quite appropriate because it doesn't have that background on it. So that's something that I like to do, is include my picture and remove the background. There's a couple of ways to do this. If you have Canva Pro, and I'll put a link below in this video in case you want to get Canva Pro. Canva Pro is what I use for everything. My YouTube thumbnails, my pins for Pinterest, ebooks, all kinds of things I use Canva for. So for me, Command has not yet replaced my need for Canva. I still like a lot of the extra things that I'm able to do with Canva. There's zoom backgrounds, there's all kinds of really cool things. The Pro version is what gives you this tool I'm about to show you. So what you would do is you would just go to any image size. So let's just say we'll just grab the Instagram story size for that picture. You could grab a square, it really doesn't matter, okay? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take one of my own photos and I'm going to put it in here that has a background. So I'm gonna go to my folders, and then I'm going to go down to I want to get to my pictures. You know what, we'll use Jeff as an example. All right, so Jeff, and let's take Jeff's picture and put it in here. Okay, you can adjust this size, like if it's cutting off his arms and I need this to be a little bit more, what I would do is I'd go to resize and I would just make this a little bit wider. still don't think I did that exactly right, but that's okay. So I would just pick the correct canvas size so that he's not getting chopped off there at the arm. Okay. I can also click the image and slide it around just a tad. There we go. I think I've got them all in there now. Pretty close. Okay. So now I want to remove the background. So what I do now is I click on the image and I go up to Effects and I do Background Remover. We give that just a second and then we have our image. Now what we want to do is we want to save this as a PNG image so that now every time we ever want to use that picture again, we're able to load it on top of an image. It has to be that PNG with a transparent background so that it will load on top. Now, if I wanted to, I can even flip this image. Let's say I'm not going to use Jeff on the left-hand side of the design. Most of the time he's going to be on the right side. So I would prefer him to be facing left. I can just flip this picture and now he's facing left. So this is a really cool thing, but this is a paid, you got to have Canva Pro for this to work. So what I would do next is I would download this and then save this as a PNG with a transparent background. And then we give it a second. It's a high resolution image, so it takes a second to get it ready to download. Now, while that's doing that, I'll show you the other option is to do remove.bg. This is another tool I've showed people how to remove the background. We go to upload image and let me just grab Jeff's picture again. There we go. Okay, it already did it. It's done. That was easy. Then we can download, but here's the challenge. This used to be completely free, and now they want you to pay for it to have certain features, to get it to download in high resolution, that kind of thing. See this? You would have to follow all their regulations. So it was super easy in the beginning, and now they've got some sticky stuff in there I'm not 100% sure of. So check those out. There are plenty of software tools that do this, but to me, I use Canva. Canva is easy, so that's what I'm using. So I'm going to go to download this, and then we're going to save it. Jeff Helvin, no background. Then we're going to go back over to KW Command, and we're going to remove my picture, and then we're going to go to Add, and to browse for a folder, just click here and it'll open your computer. Find your image, drop it in there. All right, let's give that just a second there to load. All right, then once that's loaded, you can go ahead and add that image. Sometimes they will look a little blurry at first, and then when I save the image and come back to it, it's no longer blurry. So just an FYI on that. Okay, so we're gonna put, let's say it's Jeff's listing, and I'm gonna put him actually up there on the photo itself, or I can put him down here, or I can move all these little elements around. Maybe do something like that. That looks cool, I like that. Okay, then these, same with these, you can put these on top of the image too. It's your design, move things around however you like them. Then what you can do is you can put this actual listing address right here, which is this 12110 Highland Vista. Whatever you want to do with it, okay? And maybe this one is inside a particular neighborhood that we want to put some numbers out for, okay? So here on the left-hand side now, what we can do is we go over, we click on that section there, make sure it's highlighted. Then we're going to go to KWLS, click on Snapshots. Now we can search for a neighborhood name or by postal code. So if this was in 89138, I can now pull 89138, And in a moment, it's going to give us some numbers 489138. So now I want to replace this image with that one. So I'm going to keep it selected, go to the left, click on the little wheel, boom, replaces the original one that's under there. We'll give that a second to load. So now this is kind of an advanced graphic that you can use, because now you're showing the listing, you're giving the info for the listing, but you're also giving them some other things that could be of interest. You also want to make sure you replace this photo with a listing photo. Click on the image, go to the left, KWLS, type in the listing address. Oh, I'm under Snapshot, so I got to go back to listing. There we go. 12110 Highland Vista. Okay, find your listing, click select, and then just choose whatever picture you want to use on this graphic. So I usually like to use a pool, that's very popular in Vegas, a kitchen, something besides just the front of the house, because where I live, we have a lot of cookie cutter style houses, so something more special. So I'm going to replace this. Love it. That looks so good. And notice how Jeff's image still looks perfect where it is, because we've removed the background. He doesn't have that, nothing's choppy. And once I get that laid out, if I want to make that bigger, I can, or I like it right there. That's perfect. Okay. So let's just go with this, for the sake of time, let's just go with this design. I want you to understand that you can play with designs and create so many different ads, so many different social posts for your listing, not just one thing. There's so many amazing designs. In fact, I think designs is one of my favorite elements that they've given us so far inside of KW Command. The ability to create all of these different ads and images and social posts is absolutely amazing. Okay, love it, love it. All right, so once you have this, what we're going to do is I'm going to go up here to this where the template name is, and I'm going to rename this 12110 Highland Hills, and then I might call this like Snapshot, some way to identify. If I'm going to make multiple designs for Highland Hills, I need to know all the different ones. So I'm going to make that like that. You can also come up here to File, and nope, I thought there was a way to rename it there too, but I don't see it. Okay. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and download this so that it's on our hard drive. There are lots more elements you can play with up here. There's fonts, there's text. You know, we could spend 2 hours just designing one design probably. So for the sake of today, we'll just go ahead and leave this now, and we will go up here to download. And I'm going to go to start download. And notice I didn't change any of the settings to download this image. Everything's fine the way it is. I just go straight download. I don't need to change it to a PNG or to a transparent background. None of that. I'm just saving it. 12110 Highland Vista Snapshot. And we're going to save it. All right. Okay. So far in this video, you've learned how to add your featured listings to your website. You've learned to add a virtual tour to your listings. And now you've learned how to create many designs for what we're going to do for running our ads and for our social posts. Now, the next thing that we probably want to do is create a landing page for this listing. It's not necessary, but it's super easy, pretty fast once you get the hang of it. And it's efficient for running ads and giving them somewhere to land. I'm going to talk about a couple of options with that. So the next thing we're going to do then is inside of KW Command, we're going to leave designs. So now we just click done. Now we're going to go back into consumer. Remember, the consumer applet is where we manage all of our landing pages, agent site pages, guide builder, and site and app settings. We're going to go to create a new site. I know that sounds funny because we're really just creating a landing page, but there's not a different button. You get there the same way. So we're going to click create a new site. You know, before we do that, let me show you what we're creating. If we look at this one as a sample here, I'm going to show you what we're creating. This is a listing landing page. Super easy to create and very customizable. Okay. A landing page is a page that stands alone without any other distractions. So you'll notice up top, there's no menu. This is not on your agent website directly, although you can create something different. Remember, your KW agent site already has a landing page for your listing. It's right here. That's already built, so you don't have to rebuild that. So if you just want to use this page, you can do that as well. There's a URL up here, and you can send people to this page. You're not required to create a landing page, but I wanted to make sure I included it in this training so that you understand your options, okay? Because with this page, you cannot edit it. It is what it is. You're not going to add any other elements to this page. Where with the landing page, you've got a lot of customization abilities. So now we're going to go back here, and I'm going to show you how we create this landing page right here that I'm showing you and how you can customize it. So we're going to go to create a new site, and we're going to choose a standalone page. There actually are different features right now in adding a page to your website versus building a standalone page. So in this particular case, there's more features that I want as a standalone page. I'm hoping they later give us all the features for both. So then we're going to click create a page. Then you're going to name it. First thing you do is name it, and you're going to name it based on your listing address. Okay. Now this is where people get intimidated because it's just the blank screen again. On the right-hand side, you have widgets and you have content blocks. These are what we call page builders, and page builders are very popular now, and most great email programs, websites, landing page builders, most are using blocks and page builders at this point. But you have to know what to drag in, right? So I suggest playing with all of these so that you learn what they are. The first one we have here is agent branding. So if we click on it and we drag it in and we drop it, you can see what that is. Personally, I don't like this one at all. I don't use it. I don't understand. The design elements don't look right. So I don't use that one. So I am going to trash it. That's how easy it is to choose. Just click that little trash can and it puts it in the trash for you. The next one is this branded header. This is the one I like. It's modern. I don't know why I have 3 logos showing up there. We'll have to preview it. That might disappear. Let me try one more time. That is so funny. Okay, we're going to configure that widget in a minute. When you first drag these widgets over, they will look grayed out and have the wrong information. What we're going to do is once we put all of these placeholder widgets or blocks in the right section, then we're going to go configure them so that they pull the right data. So the next thing underneath that header, the main thing you should have now is something about your listing. So for me, I use this listing block and drag that in and drop it. Now that's not there. It fixed itself. See, most of the time these things will fix themselves if you just keep going. It's crazy, but that's, or you save it and exit and come back in. Sometimes these little quirky things will fix themselves. So this looks beautiful. It's not our listing info. We're going to configure the blocks after the fact, but you can get an idea for how much space that's going to take up. The next thing that you might want to put in here is a video. So grab the video block, drag that in. Wherever you see that little line start to appear, whoops. All right, I don't see the line, but sometimes I can see it. There it is. Then that's going to be our video. We're going to configure that block in a minute to put in the correct video, okay? Now, I did notice it's kind of distorting. I mean, it looks a little bit large and fuzzy to me. That's just part of the design element. You can look at what it looks like on a smartphone or a tablet or a smartphone, and it cleans it up quite nicely. On a desktop, it does seem absorbently large to me. Absorbently, that's not the right word. Extra big. It looks really big when I put it on the page. If you don't have a video, you don't need to drag that block over. Okay. Now, another nice thing to put there is a market snapshot that could show them details about the neighborhood. However, no, let's go ahead and put that in. I thought maybe there was something there defaulted, but it's not. So we're going to grab market snapshot. I'm going to drag that over. See where that there was a green line there a minute ago. And there it is, the right place. Okay. We're going to configure that to be the correct data in a minute. Now we're going to drag in the download my app call to action down at the bottom. Okay. Now, to me, this is done. I don't need to add anything else to this. This is the purpose of this landing page is going to be used for ads primarily to give people what they asked for, what I promised them in the ad. Okay. If you want to get fancy, you can go down to the content blocks. You can add more images. You can add more text. Okay. Right now, the single property landing page or the landing pages, independent landing pages have the ability to add video, but they don't have the ability to display your testimonials, which I'm not sure why they didn't give us that. Where the landing pages that are on your website don't have video, but they do have the ability to add the testimonial display widget. This one only has the ability to put in the capture form, which does not make sense on this page. We're not trying to capture a testimonial on this page. We would want to display them, if anything. So that would be the only thing I would like to see. I would like to see that, the ability to add that. I would also like to see the ability to add related listings, but we'll let this continue to build over as it goes, right? Okay, but this is pretty simple, start to finish, looks clean, looks great. Now we need to configure our widgets. So the next thing we do is we go to the bottom and we go to configure widgets. Header text. I'll show you where that shows up. That is required, and I'm not sure. Oh, hold on. We might put something like just listed. Okay. You can change your headshot if you want to. And then it's populating all of the info that is in your marketing profile. Next, we're going to click Save and Apply. Yeah, just listed. I should probably put the address there too. So I would do something like just listed 12110 Highland Vistas. Oh, it's only letting me do 30 characters. So maybe I would put 3 bedroom, 2 bath for sale in something like that. Whatever you want to put there. It could be a call to action. It could be whatever. It's a header, your choice. Okay. So see there, that's where that shows up, and it is required. You are required to put a header there. Next, we're going to click the arrow to go to the next page. Now we're going to browse listings. And once again, we are going to find this listing. And we're going to select. Okay. Now, your landing page does not give you the ability to create the listing manually. There is a way to create listings manually when you're creating like a Facebook ad, but for some reason the landing page doesn't have the same capabilities to put in something manually. So you will need to be seeing your listing in the KW system to pull this data here. Okay. So once you have the listing pulled, go in again and choose the image that you want to have as the primary display. We're going to be able to see more images, but as the primary display, and then click Save and Apply so that you can see what that looks like. See there? All right. Now you have the correct number of bedrooms, bathrooms, year built. You have your info about the property. And now you have the virtual images. Now, I would not want to be using this landing page to show people what the house looks like before I have their info, because this is giving away everything. This is telling them everything they'd want to know. They would never need to register for anything. This is for after you get their info. And I'm going to show you where that shows up when we run our Facebook ad. Okay. So now we're going to go to configure the next widget. Headline of your video might be virtual tour. Info about the tour. Now you can use a video URL, or you can upload a URL. If you have a video URL, I'm going to go over to YouTube and I'm just going to grab any video I see.
So it's the 1st of November
and we're going to click share. And we're going to copy this YouTube URL and we're going to paste it right there. Save and apply. There's your image. There's your video. I just wish that was medium size instead of full size like that on the landing page. It's really big. Okay. Next, we're going to click the arrow to the next section. And Barton Hills, we want to change this to the Vistas or 89138 market data. I'm going to put the zip code in there, 89138. Save and apply. Yep, that's correct. So then they can see active statistics, days on market, average price ranges, that type of thing. Keep in mind, this is all pulling from the KW data. It's not going to be a spot on match for your MLS data. Every website, every data source is using different numbers. They're using the same sales and active listings and whatnot, but some include pending and some don't. Some include the median price and some are using all, and some have a longer time frame they're pulling back and some are, so don't try to get them to match up identically. Close is about the best we're going to get. Okay. Then we're going to click the arrow to go to the next section. We don't actually need to change anything here. It automatically puts in our app URL for us. So everything there is correct. We don't actually need to do anything. Then just click save and apply, and we will have our landing page. Okay. This literally takes me 5 minutes now when I make one of these. Just once you know what those blocks are, it's actually really simple. So then we're just going to go to publish page so that we can get the URL. It's going to ask us, would you like to make this publish it to make it public as a landing page? It means other people can see it. Yes. Now you have a URL right here, this long, crazy looking URL. If you want to edit that, you actually can. Click the 3 dots, click change URL, and then you can get rid of everything after that last slash. And you could now put in like 12100, or you just put in Highlands Vistas. Now that will be much easier for you to identify when you're skimming. It's better for the search engines. So I'm going to do that. What you don't want to do is you don't ever want to change that URL once you have given that link out anywhere. Because once you change the URL, that page breaks. Nobody can find it. You want to do this right now before we actually put that link anywhere. We're about to use that link. Okay. All right. Now, you don't actually have to save the link or anything. We're going to get out of here completely, and we're going to go down to campaigns to run our ad. So we've already added our featured listings to our website. We added the URL to the virtual tour to the listings. We created designs. I showed you how to do multiple designs for those listings. We created a landing page for that listing. Now we're going to run an ad for this listing. So we're going to go ahead and go down to campaigns. We're going to go to create a new campaign. We're going to run a social ad. Name your campaign based on your address. I'm going to say social ad. You're the only one that sees that, but it's going to be important so you know what's what. Our goal is to advertise a listing, scroll down, and then decide if you want to advertise on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or just one or the other. Trust me when I tell you they all have different prices. They work differently. I generally prefer to keep mine separate so that I can optimize the ad for that platform. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with all of them so that you can see what the settings are though. But for me, I'm probably just going to run it on Facebook, and then I'll run a separate one on Twitter and a separate one on Instagram, do the right size images, potentially hashtags, you know, different things like that. So then I'm going to click Set Up Campaign. But if you want to keep it easy, you can run all three together. 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do. Now we're going to preview and crop the image. So it's pulling the image. Wait a minute, we didn't put in the address yet. How are you pulling how are you pulling an image? We need to put in the address first. 12110 Highland Vistas. Okay, if this happens that you type in an address and you can't find it, it's probably this setting right here. Show only my listings is set by default. We want to show all listings. So like if I'm helping my team market listings, their listings won't show up in my all listings right now. I have to go to all listings to find them. So here's our listing we're using today. I'm going to click select. Again, I'm not actually marketing his listing. I'm not going to click publish. It's just for example. I don't want anybody to get upset about that. Okay. Now, the ad shows up on the right-hand side, and it's beautiful. It looks great. By default, it pulls the description that you have feeding in to KW through your MLS remarks, unless you've gone in and changed that in the KWLS system. So be careful about what you put in your MLS remarks. I don't think agents realize, you know, they're abbreviating, they're shortening everything, there's typos. I don't think they realize how important it is when that syndicates out to all of these different networks. Luckily, we also have the ability to edit it right here. So it looks done pretty much, but we can change it. So expansive 2-story home, we can fix spacing, those types of things. This little pop-up here you're seeing, this is my extension that I pay for. This is called Grammarly. I'll put a link below in the video to Grammarly. It helps me with typos and things like that. So that's what you're seeing there. That's not part of KW Command. So we can just make a couple little edits here, or we can get fancy and use emojis. So I could do something like, hold on, there was a shortcut. I need to look up that shortcut. On my Mac, it's Control Command Space Bar that opens my emojis. So I could do something like a house. Maybe it's the @ sign. Let me see. Oh, I forget which symbol I need to pull. There is a shortcut where you put in a symbol and then type in the icon keyword and it'll pop up. But I can't remember the symbol. I have to go look after we're done. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me pause that. Okay, I think I got it. So we put in colon. There it is. Colon. I got to remember that. And then you start typing in the keyword like house. Okay, and you get doors, you get house with garden. So find whatever it is that you want. And so next to that, I could put 3-bedroom. I can't remember what all the features are right now. It doesn't matter, but I'm just going to go with it. And then same thing, put in the colon, and then you could put in a bath, and you could put 3 baths. So watch on the right-hand side up here where it's actually populating. One thing that I like to do, a little tip, I always change this arrow down to mobile. And I want to see what it's going to look like on a mobile device because most people will watch this on a mobile device. So I don't want to create more content up here than what there is room for. So in that case, you might even want to put these on the same line. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and then do the same thing, colon, pool. So somebody's swimming. Maybe, all right, let's try swim. there we go. Swimming woman, swimming man, swimming fish. Okay. Pool. And then down here, maybe we'll put in like a money symbol, like the dollar, 450. If you're going to use the price on your listing, sometimes there's reasons to include it and sometimes not include it. These are really cool things to A/B test, run one with the price and run one without the price and see which one performs better. But sometimes if you don't put a price, you'll get more clicks, you'll get more leads, but you also get a whole bunch of people that don't qualify for that price range that were just curious. So it's kind of like you have to weigh those pros and cons, right? And then, maybe there's some kind of special financing. So you could find something like that. Something like a loan or a calculator. Maybe there's a special program for teachers. Home for Heroes program. Whatever. I'm just giving an example. VA. Maybe you want to put a military person there for the types of financing. So there's an example of how it would work with your emojis, okay? Now, if you put them on separate lines, so you can see there it ran out 3 lines. We have 3 lines there, okay? So if you're going to do that, that's fine. Remember, the objective here is not to give them all the info. The objective is to get them curious. So we don't want to put in too much info. We want what is going to attract them. That's what's most important. And you'll want to play with that and test and measure. Now we want to put your headline. Your headline is going to go right here. So just listed in the vistas with a pool. Okay. Now enter a quick description underneath here. I don't think that actually shows up anymore, but let me try. Ooh, shuffle. Oh, you can have your description shuffle. I don't remember seeing that before. That's cool. Okay, so now I might just do this again. 3-bed. Actually, what are they going to get if they click? Pics, pricing, tours. See pics, pricing, virtual tour. Okay. Now you can save your ad text or you can keep going. Now you have add media. We're going to click configure, add media. You can do a video ad or you can do an image ad. You can include multiple images. So these are also great things that you can play with. There's also a really cool ad format where you can list multiple listings in one ad. I also really like that. If you need the videos for any of these things that I'm mentioning, let me know. I have videos for each of the individual components. You can just comment below and let me know. Okay, now, Twitter does not support multiple images. This is another reason why I like to kind of separate those ads. But if you wanted to run multiple images, you can click add more. And you can select the other images that you want to add to this listing one by one. On Facebook, I'm going to run them wide. On Instagram, I'm going to run them square. Okay. So there's an example of what you can do there. If you don't want the extra image, click on the 3 dots and delete it. And then you can just go back to the 1. Okay. Next, we're going to leave the DBA logo on there. Okay. Now, what about the design that we made earlier? So what you could do is you could browse for the design that we created and use that in your ad instead. So we're going to go to add more, and now we're going to go to add images, browse design library, and we're going to pick the design we just made. Now, there is no guarantee that any of your images will be approved. Originally, Facebook had a regulation that you couldn't include a video that has an image that has too much text. But recently I heard that's either going away or gone, but I have not verified that info. So love this image. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, go back and just grab a picture of a house or the kitchen or whatever else would work there. So you're going to want to play with your different design elements. The fact that we have so many choices is what makes this type of advertising more creative and allows us to stand out against the competition, is by playing with the different options that we have, all the various templates and things. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we go down to Facebook and Instagrams and click configure. You need to select the pages now that are set up to run your ads. You cannot run a Facebook ad from your personal Facebook profile. So instead, I've connected this up here through settings. I have connected my Facebook account. By doing that, Facebook automatically knows now what my business pages are. And I have many because I have multiple businesses. So under here, where it selects page, I'm going to go down and pick the page that's most appropriate for this ad. So all of my real estate ads are running on Lori Ballen Team Las Vegas. So I'm going to select that page. And then do I want this to be an Instagram ad or an Instagram story ad? So you can play with that if you're including Instagram. Next, we need to choose what type of ad we want to run. On Facebook, the one that's generating the best results for us real estate agents, where we're getting the most leads for the least amount of cost per lead, is the lead generation form. And what happens is when the person clicks the form, we automatically get their name and info from their profile page. So using a lead form allows us to collect more data. That's why we get more leads. You don't have to do that, but I promise you, if you only send them to your listing landing page, even if you add a form, you're not going to get any leads. You're going to get a lot of traffic to your website, but you won't get leads. Unless somebody specifically wants to reach out to you about that exact property because they want to see it, which is a very small percentage. So we use Facebook lead generation form, and then I leave it at learn more. Now, after you get their data, they are then sent somewhere to get the info. You have to send them somewhere to get the info. So we've got a couple of options. One, actually, I'm going to give you three options. The first one is choose the landing page that we already built. Remember, we built a landing page called Highland Vistas. If you want to preview it again, click that little arrow. It'll open in a new window or a new tab, and you can look at what you created so that you can remember. And we say, yes, that's the one we want. Just click it, and now it's selected. You don't have to do anything else. After their form is filled out, they will then be redirected to your landing page. Boom, done. Follow up after that, it's completely up to you. Okay? Next option we have is we could literally just send them to the page on our KW Command website. It's already all filled out, has a mortgage call to action, but what doesn't it have? It doesn't have the video, and it doesn't have the download my app, or does it? I think that's on there somewhere. No. Okay. But it does have some local information. It does have related listings at the bottom. So you're going to test and measure, choose whatever you think. This also has, if they fill out the loan information, then there's another form of lead capture, but you already have their info. So, okay. So if you want to send them here instead, you actually copy that URL address up top, that long URL. And instead, we're going to go back and we're going to paste that URL right here. If you want to send them to a YouTube video, if you want to send them to a listings leads landing page, if you want to send them to any URL now at this point, you just paste it in here. Now the third option, and this is one I really like a lot, is to actually send them to your website to a page that has that listing and others like it. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. So this listing is 900,000. It's in 89138. It has a pool. I'm trying to think of like what the standout features are going to be. Okay, so now let's do a search up here in the search bar for 89138. So the first thing I do is find the zip code or the neighborhood that house is in. Next thing I want to do is I want to get homes that are in a similar price range. So I'm going to go to price, and I'm going to say, show me only homes that are 800 to 900, let's just say. Depends on how many homes show up here. 800 to 900. I want it to be right at my listing price there, pretty close. Okay. Or we can do it the other way. Let's go to 1,000,000 and we'll start at my listing price so that my listing will be the cheapest on the page. That's actually a better idea. So 900K to 1,000,000. Okay. And then let's, okay, there it goes. I was looking to see if it was resorting them. Let's sort by lowest price. So we're going to go price, low to high. So hopefully our listing will then appear on top because it's in the lowest listing group. There it goes. That is so weird. I don't see our listing at all. 89138, 900K to a, oh, I went too high. I think ours was 850, wasn't it? Or 899. Let's try that. We just got to click anywhere and then give it a second, and then it will update for us. Now what happens is this page is dynamic. What that means is it updates automatically on its own. So there will be, if there's new listings in this price range, they will show up here. If anything changes on these listings, they'll show up. So $899 is our first one. So it won't let us type in a price. I don't think that I've seen. So I want to go as 875 is as low as I can go. Shoot. Okay, so hold on. Then I also want to do property type. Let's do houses only. That'll get rid of those condos. What my goal is to get my listing to show up above the fold in the top as much as possible. So those are all 4-bedroom. What is mine? 4-bedroom. Let's see, square feet. Living area. So ours is 3,700 square feet. So let's try 3,700 or more. All right, getting closer. So now at least we're up here. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that they see my listing when they land on this page, but that they also have other listings that are very similar, because oftentimes they will rule out the listing they land on and now you've lost them. But if I've got their attention and they want to see other listings here, now I can give them other info. Now the bonus is I'm also going to set up a SmartPlan that gives them a link to the specific property landing page, just in case they feel like they didn't get the info they were looking for if I send them here. Those are the 3 options. You do whatever works for you. You definitely can test and measure what works the best. There's no wrong way, okay? Just different options. And if I want to send them to this, I can just grab this whole long URL. That page will update automatically. I never have to change anything. And then I would paste that one right there. So those are your 3. Those are a few choices with where you can send them. All right, add targeting. We're going to use custom settings. And I'm not going to talk about target my database right now because on Facebook, that's a super advanced feature. For now, we're going to go to target a custom audience. And I take that as small as you can go, which is 15 miles. And my suggestion is at this point that you leave it alone unless you understand targeting, or you're going to run 2 ads at the same time, one without targeting and one with targeting, to see how they perform. The challenge is when you go to expert targeting, the only option we have now as real estate agents is interests, people that have expressed interest in. What that means is if they haven't expressed interest in, they won't show up on here. Also, these people could have expressed interest who knows how long ago in something. and you're actually bidding on the audience, so your price could go up. But some people recommend that you do something like this. You type in Zillow and, okay, anybody who likes Zillow. You could also do the same with realtor.com. You know, you're putting in these different, assuming that these people might then want to buy a house, but they might also be real estate agents. They might be, who knows, whatever. But it could increase your options of finding a more ready and willing buyer, and it could also eliminate ready and willing buyers, and it could also increase your cost for that ad. Those are just some different things to consider when you're playing with all this. If you don't know what you're doing, you might just want to leave that blank for now and see how your ad performs, and then you can come back and play with these more later. Ad content is automatically populated. We saw that up here on the right hand side. There's no reason to change anything, but if you want to change something again, you can toggle that on and you can revise what's in your ad copy here as well. Here's where you configure your Twitter ad. Okay, so you would do the same thing on your Twitter ad, put in your destination URL, or choose the landing page that you want to send them to. Okay, ad targeting automatically is age over 25. That's new. I didn't see that before. And any gender. If you choose use custom settings, I'm nervous about changing those because I think my ad would not be approved if I change those, because we're in a special housing regulation, and usually it's not wanting us to put age and gender things in there. So I'm going to leave that off, and I would need to run one and test it and see if they actually run. But for me, I don't like messing with those based on fair housing regulations. I usually just leave those alone nowadays. And then add content, again, we can change it there. Oh, I see what it's doing. Twitter is letting us choose. That's Twitter. I don't do a lot of Twitter ads. So Twitter is letting us still choose these things. That's what the difference is. So that's your call. And then they have expert targeting. So Twitter still has a lot of the things that Facebook doesn't have for targeting. I'm going to leave that your call completely. And then add content to revise for Twitter. You could add hashtags here. So this isn't bad. This is actually giving us the elements now, which we didn't have in the beginning, to change an image for each. It's allowing us to change the text, the headline, the image for each social channel. So you really could run these all together because of those options that they've added, which is great. Okay. And then duration and budget. So duration, how long do I want to run this listing? If it's a listing and you have a new listing and you assume it's going to sell in 3 days, my suggestion is you throw your whole budget at it and run it for only a couple days. So if you say to yourself, I only am going to spend $100 per listing. I know that for some people that sounds like a lot. For other people, it doesn't sound like much at all. But let's just say you say I've got $100 and I'm going to commit every time I have a listing. I'm going to run an ad. I'm going to spend $100. I'm just going to commit to this process. I'm going to do it long term and watch it play out. Then you could say, I'm going to run this just for 3 days. Here you can choose the date. And then I'm going to run, hold on, I'm missing where the dollar amount is. I'm missing something. Duration and budget. November 17th to November 20th. 3 days. Oh, total campaign budget, $100. I had the days in the, okay, perfect. 11/11. I like that number. All right, 3 days. We're going to spend all $100 in those 3 days. We're going to spend, oh, that doesn't add up. Oh, because I have, okay, see, this is why it's tricky when you run multiple ads together. So it's going to be 3 days, $11 per day per channel. So it's really 33 whatever dollars because we have Instagram running, we have Facebook running, and we have Twitter running. You see how different that is? Where if you just run Facebook, it would spread that $100 out between 3 days on Facebook. But because we also included Instagram and Twitter, it's dividing those up into the 3 networks, which means you're going to spend more per day divided up on those 3 channels, okay? Also use automatic placements for Facebook ads. That is going to add your Facebook ad to the side columns and to other areas. I don't usually add those myself, but you can. And again, you can test it. So you can choose, you know what? I have not played with this. Let's just leave that one alone. That's kind of new. I'm going to come back to that. We're just going to leave it. But do I want to distribute this evenly? It looks like each one you can be weighted. Like I want to give more spend to Facebook than Instagram than Twitter. So that's a pretty cool advanced feature, but it is advanced. So I'm not going to mess with that for now. And then we're going to go to save, duration, and budget. Once everything is saved and it all looks good, you're going to go up here to publish campaign. Your ad will then have to go through approval and then it will run. If you ever cancel your ad before it's finished running, you'll get a credit. And then the next time you go to run your ad, it'll say you have a credit of $42. Do you want to use this? Once it processes, maybe not the next time, but once it processes. Okay. All right. So we're not quite done, but we're almost done. So we created our listing design. We added our featured listings to our website. We created a listing landing page. We added virtual tours to our listings. We've now learned how to run a Facebook ad, Instagram ad, and a Twitter ad. Now you're going to want to create a smart plan that helps follow up on that listing. So over here on the left-hand side, we're going to go down to smart plans, which is that icon right there. I never remember the icons for some reason. Okay. And then we're going to click, I've already saved it. I've already run it. Let's just say, then we're going to go in there. Okay. Best way to do this is to create one template that you're going to save, and then you can duplicate it for each listing and then optimize it. Okay. There are a ton of smart plans. You can pick up shared smart plans from the shared library if you want to go in and edit all your signatures and everything. You can buy a smart plan suite from my brothers who put that all together for you. You can use the KWRI smart plans. They're all over here in the library. So you can play with all these top rated smart plans, shared smart plans. They share who's using them, all of that good stuff. Okay, you can play with that. Or you can create your own. And what I do is I have a little funnel, and I'll show you. So I go to create. I'm going to name this smart plan based on the listing. 12110 Highland Vistas. Apply. Now, if you already have a template in there you've created as a placeholder, then you would go to duplicate instead of create. Next thing we want to do is, do we want to email them or do we want to text them? Most often I do both. So I'm going to click send an email and I'm going to click send a text. And they're actually both going to go out at whatever time KW Command sends them out. I forgot the other day. I think it said 10 a.m. It's either 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Texas time, Central Standard Time, is when texts will go out. So if you were to add somebody to the smart plan at 11 o'clock at night, they would get the text the next morning at the send time. Now to text, you do have to have Twilio activated. Twilio is not free, but it's very inexpensive. And that's how you send your text messages. And that's done up here in your settings. Okay. All right. So my email is going to be the subject line is going to be the information you requested. That would be in my template, but I'm going to add the information you requested on 12110 Highland Vistas. Okay. Now I'm going to keep this really simple. We're working on the email first. This is the merge field that'll put in the contact information or whatever placeholders, whatever merge fields you want. Click on the little arrow, and I'm going to go to their contact's first name. So I can address them by first name. So you would put something like, hi, whoops, hold on. Make sure your cursor's in front of it. Hi, first name, comma. Here is the info you requested on 12110 Highland Vistas Avenue. This home offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a pool. It's offered at $450,000. I'm just making up something right now. Okay. Now, you could also say, here is a list of homes similar. Or I took the time to create a page of similar listings that you might also want to review. Something like that. Okay. So here is a list of homes, ... All right. Now we need to put links in here. So here is a list of homes. We're going to send them to that page that we created that has all of those similar homes. Remember that long URL up there? Just copy that, and we're just going to paste it right here. Link title, link target, add link. Okay? Now underneath here, you could put something like, when would you like to tour homes? I have Tuesday or Friday available. Okay. So what I've done here is I've given them what they asked for. I've offered them a little bit more, and then I've included a call to action to try to get them to communicate with me. Okay. I've done what I promised. I've given them over what I've promised. I'm over delivering. And then I'm asking for something. I'm asking to create a dialogue. Okay. Now on a text message, it has to be much shorter. So I would do the same thing. Hi, blank. But now you have to say who you are, because it's not an automatic on a text message like it is on an email. Hi, blank. It's Lori Ballen at Keller Williams. Here is the info on that listing you peeked at or inquired about. Okay. Now you need a link, and the link needs to be a short URL. So what I do is I take this, because I don't know if command is shortening that URL. I haven't tested it. So what I do is I go up here. I should test it, but I take that long URL. I go over to bit.ly, bit.ly, which is free, a free tool unless you upgrade. Paste, create, paste, create a link, and then we get the small link copy. Now I go back over. So I need to test if KW Command does it automatically, but if not, we don't want that long, ugly URL up there. Okay. And then I'm going to ask them a direct question. Is 450 in your price range? Or are you looking for a home with a pool? You know, now we're trying to get some sort of even if it's a yes, no, I prefer actual quantifiable questions, and you'll see those throughout our series where it's more of they're answering a specific, like 4-bedroom, they're saying their price range, they're giving us a date range. But this is very unintimidating. It's a great little first text. Okay. Now, instead of letting the SmartPlan end though, from there, now I'm going to set a delay. So I'm going to click set delay. It shows up here, and I'm going to say wait 3 days. So now they're going to get the email. They're going to get the text from me. Then 3 days later, what do I want to happen? I want them now to get moved into another smart plan. So now I would move them, add to smart plan, and I'm going to now put them in my buyer arrival smart plan. So Ballen Brands, Jeff and Paul, have smart plans that are built based on my experience in test and measuring with funnels. And we have created a Ballen's buyer arrival, buyer survival, and buyer revival smart plans. We also have a seller arrival, seller revival, and seller survival. I said it wrong. Arrival, survival, and revival. So one is all about when they first arrive. Our whole objective is to try to get them to communicate with us. The second is, just an ongoing check-in. Maybe we're talking to them, maybe we're not. And then the revival is we never heard from anybody. It's a Hail Mary last effort, throw everything at it, blast it until they tell us to go away or they start communicating with us. Those are and we have those with each one. Okay, so I'm going to add them to there. Now I also am going to add to SmartPlan, and I'm going to add them to my newsletter SmartPlan or whatever else. So my goal is that once a month they're going to get some sort of a newsletter or things to do in Vegas or market data, and then they're going to get my regular drip of buyer info. Once I'm done with this, then I can go up here and save that SmartPlan. SmartPlan can only have one linked per day. Oh, I had to put a delay in here. Hold on. Set delay. Okay. Sometimes, let me move this one up. Nope. I moved up the wrong one. Delay. Okay. Now let me add another day to that. So it won't add them to two smart plans on the same day, it said. So then let me save. Okay, that worked. Okay, perfect. So now that person got what they wanted, and now they're going to go into my other drips automatically, and I don't have to do anything else. But I do need to add that person to the smart plan. So if you click that little person, we can then search by the name, and we can find that lead, and we can add them. Or the other way is from the contacts directly. Let me go to contacts. All right, pick anybody. Go to the right-hand side, 3 little dots, add to SmartPlan, and then I would add them to this 1221 Highlands. Click select, and now they're automatically in your funnel. It's super easy. It's super fast. I can't wait till there's a trigger based on tags, for automation, but this is still a pretty smooth process. All right, so because I'm out of time now with this full marketing a listing, we did go start to finish with all of the things for marketing a listing. The only thing we didn't do was go into your social posts, and all you have to do to schedule social posts, on the left-hand side here, you're going to go again to campaigns. I'm not going to dive deep into this. I just want to show you where to go. We're going to go to campaigns. You're going to go to social posts. And here's your posting calendar. So it's very simple. You just go to create a social post. And then it's similar to what we did with our Facebook ad. You put your text, just listed. You add your photo or your design, your video, your link. Where do you want to run it? Twitter, Facebook. There's no charge for this. Go to preview your post and then click schedule post on that day and then go do the next one. So if I've got a new listing, you could go on here and say for 7 days, I'm going to run a different design for that one listing for 7 straight days. You do it all in one shot. You schedule them all out, and then you'll be able to look at the analytics on how well they performed afterwards. So that is how you take advantage of leveraging a listing. I'm Lori Ballen in Las Vegas. Thank you so much for joining me today.